whisper of the hidden grove. The night it happened, the forest was breathing. Not like the rustle of leaves or the sigh of wind, it was alive, watching, waiting. And in that moment, I realized someone else was breathing with it, someone who wasn't supposed to exist. I was 15, restless, sketching under the pale moonlight. My pencil danced on paper, but my thoughts wandered toward things I couldn't name. Maybe loneliness, maybe longing. Then, from the dark line of the trees, a figure moved, silent, fluid, almost too graceful to be human. I froze. He didn't see me at first. His steps were light, soundless, and the faint glow around him, it wasn't reflection, it came from within. His eyes, a sharp, unreal green, caught the moonlight like shattered glass. And then he looked straight at me. For a second, neither of us breathed. I remember how cold it felt, like the world itself had forgotten how to move. Then he vanished. Not ran, not walked, vanished, like smoke dissolving in the wind. That night I didn't sleep. I couldn't, because when I blinked, I could still see those eyes. And I knew, whatever he was, he had seen the mark on my face, the small scar under my right eye, the one I always tried to hide. The next morning, I went back to the same spot, pretending to draw. The air felt thicker, heavy with something unspoken. I whispered, half to myself, half to the wind, "Are you real?" No answer, only the soft hum of leaves. I stayed for hours, waiting. Just when I decided to leave, a voice, calm, clear, yet distant, came from behind. "You shouldn't be here." I turned. He was there, the boy from the night, standing just a few steps away. No glow this time, but his eyes still carried that impossible green. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. "I didn't mean to..." He raised a hand, quieting me. "You saw what you weren't meant to see." There was a tremor in his tone, not anger, but fear. He looked around as if someone might be listening. "You're human," he said, almost as if it hurt to say the word. "And you?" I asked before I could stop myself. Silence. Then, so quietly that I almost didn't hear it, "I'm not supposed to exist here." He turned to leave, but I caught a glimpse of something beneath his hood, a faint shimmer of pointed ears, the mark of what stories used to call elves. I stood rooted to the ground, my heart pounding. "Wait," I called after him. "I won't tell anyone." He stopped, his back still turned. For a heartbeat, I thought he would disappear again, but instead, he said one thing, low, cold, and final. "You already did." Then the wind rose and he was gone. That night, the whisper of the forest returned, louder, closer, and beneath it, another sound I couldn't ignore, a voice calling my name. "Lina." I didn't mean to return to the forest, but I did. Something about that place, the smell of rain on bark, the way shadows moved as if alive, kept calling me back. Or maybe it wasn't the forest at all. Maybe it was him. For 3 days, I waited by the clearing. Nothing, not even a trace of footsteps. I started to believe I had imagined everything. The light in his eyes, his voice, his warning. But on the 4th day, I found something strange. A small pendant tangled in the grass, smooth silver, carved with tiny markings I couldn't read. It pulsed, faintly, like a heartbeat. The moment I touched it, a gust of wind swirled around me. Leaves rose, spinning in slow circles. And then he stepped out from the trees. "You shouldn't have touched that," he said, his voice low, sharp, almost afraid. I dropped the pendant. "I didn't mean to. I thought it was yours." It was meant to stay hidden. He crouched, picking it up carefully, as if it might burn him. "Now it's seen you." "Seen me?" I echoed. His gaze lifted to my face, and for a moment his expression changed. The cold distance faded. His eyes, those impossible green eyes, softened. He reached out, almost touching the scar under my eye, then stopped himself. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. I didn't answer. Nobody had ever asked it like that before, not with curiosity, but with sorrow. "A fire," I said, finally. "Long time ago." He nodded slowly, then turned away. "Pain leaves marks the world cannot see. Yours just chose the surface." The way he said it, it felt like a truth older than both of us. We stood in silence for a while, until I found myself asking the question I shouldn't. "What are you?" He gave a faint, crooked smile. "A mistake." Then he started walking, deeper into the forest. For a moment, I hesitated. Then something in me broke through the fear. I followed. He didn't stop me. The air grew colder, the trees taller. I realized we were crossing into somewhere different. There was no sound, no birds, no insects, just the hum of unseen energy. The world shimmered faintly, as if the air itself was made of light. He looked back at me once. "If you go any further, you won't see the world the same way again." "I already don't," I whispered. That was the first time he smiled, truly smiled. And when he did, the forest glowed. We reached a hidden grove surrounded by trees so old they seemed to breathe. In the center, a pool of water shimmered with soft green light. Floating above it, tiny glowing motes like fireflies made of glass. "This is where I live, the heart of the forest." He stepped closer to the water, dipping his hand in. When he lifted it, drops hung in the air, refusing to fall. They hovered, swirling in his palm until they turned into a small vial filled with pale silver-green liquid. He handed it to me. "For your scar. It won't heal the way you think, but it will remind you that you're more than it." I stared at the vial, the soft light dancing across my fingers. "Why are you helping me?" His voice dropped to a whisper. "Because you looked at me and didn't run." Before I could say another word, he stepped back into the shadows. And as he faded, his last words hung in the air, half warning, half promise. "Remember this place, Lina. Someday you'll need to find it again." That night, I couldn't sleep. The small glass vial lay on my desk, glowing faintly in the dark. Its light wasn't constant. It pulsed, like it was breathing. I told myself not to touch it. Of course, I did anyway. The liquid was cool, like morning dew. The moment it touched my skin, warmth spread through my face. Gentle at first, then sharp, almost burning. I gasped and stumbled to the mirror. For a second, I saw nothing. Then the scar shimmered. Faint silver veins spread from it like roots, glowing under my skin. It didn't hurt. It sang. And deep inside, I felt something awaken. A memory that wasn't mine. Trees whispering. A voice calling my name in a language I didn't know. The sound of wings. Then, darkness. When I opened my eyes, the glow was gone. The scar had faded, not vanished, but softened, as if touched by light from another world. I thought it was over. It wasn't. The next day, everything looked different. The air shimmered slightly, colors felt deeper, sounds clearer. I could hear the heartbeat of the forest. The wind spoke in patterns I almost understood. And then I saw him. Arion stood by the old willow near the riverbank, his cloak darker than shadow, eyes glowing faintly beneath the hood. "You used it," he said quietly. "I had to know," I answered. He shook his head, stepping closer. "That salve wasn't meant for you. It's bound to my kind, to the Eldraine. Using it links you to us." "To you?" I whispered. His eyes flickered. "Yes, to me." Silence hung between us, heavy, fragile. Then he looked past me, scanning the trees, his calm expression fractured into fear. "They know," he said. "The forest felt it. The veil's been touched. Who knows? My kind, the old ones. If they sense your presence, they'll come for you, to silence what should not exist between worlds." I took a step closer. "Then I'll hide. You can help me, right?" He hesitated. "Lina, if I bring you where I live, beyond the grove, you can't return the same. You'll see what mortals aren't meant to." "I don't care," I said, voice trembling but certain. "I've already seen you. That's enough to change everything." For a moment, he looked at me like he was trying to memorize my face, as if it might be the last time. Then he reached out his hand. "Come with me," he whispered. "But remember, once you step beyond, the forest remembers you too." I took his hand. The world dissolved. Light turned to sound, air turned to song, and then silence. When it cleared, I stood in a place I couldn't describe, a world of emerald sky and silver trees, where shadows whispered names and rivers glowed from within. Arion looked at me, half in light, half in sorrow. "This is where I belong. And now, so do you." At first, I thought I had died, because no living place could look like this. The air itself shimmered, heavy with light. Trees bent toward me as if curious. Rivers sang in low voices. Every color breathed. Silver, blue, gold, hues I didn't know existed. But beneath all that beauty, I felt it. A pulse. A warning. Arion didn't speak much as we walked. His cloak brushed the glowing grass, his steps soundless. When I tried to ask questions, he only said, "Listen first. The forest speaks before words do." So I listened, and I heard things I couldn't unhear. Whispers beneath the wind, laughter beneath the earth. They spoke my name, stretching it into echoes. We came to a clearing. In the center stood a tree, ancient, wider than a house, its roots coiling like veins. Light dripped from it in droplets that never touched the ground. "This," Arion said quietly, "is the heart root, my people's source of life." "It's beautiful," I whispered. "It's dangerous," he corrected. "It knows what doesn't belong here." Then he looked at me, truly looked, and I saw fear, raw and human, in his eyes. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the grove. The lights flickered. Shadows took shape, tall, thin figures emerging from the mist. Their eyes glowed with the same light as the heart root. Arion stepped in front of me. "Stay behind me, Lina." The tallest of them spoke, voice like breaking ice. "Arion of the lower kin, you've crossed the boundary. You brought one of them." "She was hurt," he said. "I only meant to heal her." You've broken the veil. You let her taste the essence of our world. Do you even know what that means?" Arion's jaw clenched. She's not like the others. The Heartroot accepted her. Their eyes turned to me, hundreds of them, burning through my skin. For a heartbeat, I felt naked before something ancient, judging me. Then, all at once, they vanished. Only the echo of their anger remained, swirling through the leaves. Arion sank to his knees, breathing hard. "They won't let this go. You've been marked. The forest knows your name now." I knelt beside him. "Then what do we do?" He looked up at me, a faint, broken smile on his lips. "We run, before they decide what to do with us." The glow of the Heartroot dimmed, and the forest grew silent. Too silent. Somewhere behind us, something ancient had awakened, and for the first time, I wasn't sure if Arion had saved me or doomed me. We didn't look back, not once. The forest moved as we ran. Trees shifted, roots tangled beneath our feet, branches tried to hold us back. It wasn't just a place anymore. It was alive, angry, betrayed. Arion's hand gripped mine tight, pulling me through the twisting paths. His breathing was ragged, his calmness gone. "They've sent the Watchers," he said. "We have little time." "Who are they?" I asked, my voice trembling. "The ones who guard the veil. They erase what shouldn't exist." We reached a ridge overlooking a deep silver valley. Below, shimmering lights moved, not torches, but beings, gliding silently through the mist, searching. Arion turned toward me, eyes wild with urgency. "I should have left you. You weren't meant for this." "Then why didn't you?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached out, his fingers brushing my cheek where the scar used to be. "Because I saw something in you. Something even our kind forgot long ago. Courage and kindness." I felt heat rise in my chest, not from the forest, but from him. "I don't want to lose you," I said. He looked away, his expression breaking. "You might have to." Before I could answer, the air rippled. A sound like cracking glass echoed around us, and from the shadows, they came. The Watchers. Figures woven from mist and light, faces hidden, eyes glowing with the color of broken stars. Arion drew a blade of light from his cloak, thin, humming with power. "Stay behind me, Lina." But something inside me refused to obey. I stepped forward. The Watchers paused. Their voices merged into one, cold, echoing. "The mortal carries the mark. The veil knows her name." My skin burned. The glow beneath it flared to life, spreading down my arms like liquid fire. Arion shouted something, but the words blurred in the roar of energy inside me. Then, silence. The Watchers hesitated. Arion grabbed me, pulling me back. "You just scared them," he breathed. "Lina, what did you do?" "I don't know," I whispered, shaking. "I didn't mean to." He pressed a hand to my chest, where my heartbeat pulsed like light. "It's not just a mark anymore," he said softly. "It's part of you. The veil has chosen you." The forest quieted. Far away, thunder rolled, not from the sky, but from the earth beneath us. Arion's voice dropped to a whisper. "We can't stay here. There's one place left where they won't find us. The Forgotten Veil. But it's forbidden, even to me." "Then we'll go," I said, "if it keeps us alive." He looked at me like he wanted to believe it, like he needed to. Then he nodded. "Then hold on to me, and don't look at the shadows. They lie." He wrapped his cloak around us. The world folded in on itself. Light, sound, gravity, everything dissolved. And for a brief, unbearable moment, I felt weightless, between two worlds. We fell through darkness that had no sound, no sky, no ground, just a drifting fall through nothing. Then, suddenly, light. Pale, cold, and endless. We landed in silence. The air was thick, like breathing through glass. The trees here were not alive. They were carved from stone, frozen mid-bloom. The river didn't flow, it shimmered in stillness, like a mirror waiting for memory. "This is it," Arion whispered. "The forgotten veil." His voice trembled, and I realized this place scared even him. I looked around. There was no wind, no birds, no sound of life. Only whispers, faint, broken, like voices trying to remember their names. "What happened here?" I asked. He hesitated. "A betrayal," he said finally. "Long ago, when the first veil between worlds was made, the elves tried to seal their realm from humans, but one of us fell in love with one of you." I froze. "And they were punished?" He said quietly. "They were erased. Every memory, every song, every trace, gone. But the mark they left behind? This valley." I looked down. The glow beneath my skin pulsed faintly, echoing with the stillness around me. "This place feels like it knows me," I said. Arion looked at me for a long time, something shifting behind his eyes. "Maybe it does." He led me toward a lake that looked like liquid glass. As we stepped closer, our reflections didn't match us. Mine was older, eyes brighter, hair faintly silver, and his reflection wasn't there at all. "Arion," I whispered, "where are you in the reflection?" He stepped back, face pale. "I don't know." A voice rose from the lake, soft, feminine, filled with grief. "You do, Arion of the lower kin. You were never born of this age." The water rippled. From it, a figure emerged, tall, luminous, her face carved from sorrow. Her eyes were silver fire. Arion dropped to one knee. "High One," he whispered. "I didn't know. You broke the seal. You carried the essence to the mortal world. The mark she bears was never meant to awaken." Her gaze turned to me. It was like being seen by the moon itself. "Child of both worlds, you carry the blood of what should not exist." My breath caught. "What are you saying?" Arion rose, defiant. "She's not one of us. She's human." The woman's voice softened. "No, Arion, she's both." The world seemed to tilt. The air pulsed around us. "She is the descendant of the one we erased, the forbidden union, the reason this veil was sealed." Arion turned to me, shock breaking across his face. You're the reason the veil calls to you." I felt my knees weaken. "You knew. When you saw my scar, you knew something." He stopped, unable to finish. I hoped I was wrong. The High One raised her hand and the air trembled. "Your bond has already crossed the threshold. Now the world will remember what we buried." Light erupted, brilliant, searing. The veil began to awaken, voices crying, memories burning through the ground. Arion grabbed my hand, pulling me away. "Run, the past is rewriting itself." The last thing I saw was the High One's sorrowful eyes as the light swallowed us whole. And then, silence again. When I woke, the world was wrong. Colors bled into each other. The air hummed with memory. We were no longer in the veil, not entirely. Half of me stood in the human forest I knew, the other half in Arion's realm, still pulsing with silver light. Two worlds overlapping, like mirrors cracking into one another. Arion lay beside me, his face pale, breath shallow. "Arion," I whispered, shaking him, "wake up." He stirred, eyes opening slowly, but his gaze was distant, unfocused. "She's writing the past. The High One, she's trying to erase us again." I felt a chill run through me. "Erase?" He looked at me then, the fear in his eyes raw. "When a bond breaks the veil, it unravels both worlds. She's trying to fix it by removing what caused it. Us." I stared at him, heart pounding. "So she'll destroy us?" He hesitated. "Or worse. Make it so we never existed." Silence stretched. Around us, the trees shimmered between real and unreal. I could see two versions of every shadow, one alive, one fading. "Then what do we do?" I asked. He smiled faintly, a smile too calm for what he'd just said. "We finish what they started. We bring the veil down completely." My stomach twisted. "Mean break it?" "Yes," his voice steadied. "If the worlds merge, no one can erase what connects them. Not her, not the council, no one." "But that could destroy everything, both sides." "Or save both," he said quietly. "If the worlds remember each other again." I wanted to argue, but deep down I knew he was right. The mark beneath my skin pulsed stronger, calling out like a heartbeat between worlds. Then, a shadow fell across us. Out of the fading light, a familiar figure emerged, the High One. Her face was carved with sorrow. "You would repeat the same sin?" she said. "Arion, do you not see what love has cost us once before?" Arion rose slowly, facing her. "Maybe love wasn't the sin. Maybe forgetting was." Her expression softened, just for a heartbeat, then turned to ice. "You were never meant to feel. You were created to guard, not to love." I froze. "Created?" I whispered. Arion didn't turn. His silence said enough. The High One's gaze fell on me. "He isn't what you think. He is the echo of the one who betrayed us long ago, the spirit of the elf who fell for your ancestor. We remade him to serve the veil." My breath caught. "That's not true." But Arion's eyes, the pain in them, told me it was. I didn't know. I thought I was real. I thought what I felt was mine. Tears burned in my eyes. "Then what are we, Arion? A mistake?" He stepped closer, his hand trembling as it touched my cheek. "No," he said softly. "We're the memory that refuses to die." The ground split beneath us. Light poured from the cracks, not warm, not gentle, but ancient and hungry. The worlds began to collide. The High One raised her hand, shouting words older than sound. Arion turned to me, shouting over the roar, "If I fall, follow the light, not the shadow. Remember my name." "Arion!" Before I could reach him, the light consumed everything, and I fell, alone, through time, through worlds, through memory. When I opened my eyes, the sky was gray, the air was still, and the world felt empty. I was back in the human forest, or what was left of it. The trees were pale, almost transparent. The river had stopped moving. Even the air seemed unsure whether to breathe. I stood slowly, the earth cold beneath my hands. The glow under my skin was gone. The mark, the scar, had faded completely. It was as if nothing had ever happened. But something was wrong. The silence was too perfect, the world too still. "Arion?" I whispered. No answer, only the echo of my voice bouncing off hollow air. I walked. Hours, maybe days. Time didn't work right anymore. Everything I touched felt both real and not. Then, near the riverbank, I saw it, a fragment of silver cloth tangled in the reeds. His cloak. I picked it up, and the world shifted. For an instant, I heard him. "Lina." It was faint, like a breath caught between heartbeats. I pressed the fabric to my chest. "Arion, where are you?" The wind stirred. Leaves rose in a spiral, forming faint shapes. Wings, light, then a face. His face. But it wasn't him, just an echo, a memory projected through the shattered layers of reality. "You brought it down. The veil has fallen. Now the worlds remember, but I do not." My heart clenched. "You said if I followed the light." "I am the light now." The boundary had to break. It was the only way to save you. "No," I said, shaking my head. "You said we'd do this together." A pause. Then, we did. The echo faded. The forest brightened slightly, just enough for me to see the shimmer of silver lines running beneath the soil, like veins. The mark on my skin flared once more, faint, but alive. The connection wasn't gone, not yet. Then, a sound. Soft, rhythmic. Footsteps. I turned. A figure stood in the mist, tall, cloaked, with eyes that glowed faintly beneath the hood. "Arion?" I whispered. The figure stepped closer, but his gaze was empty. No recognition, no warmth. He stopped before me, tilting his head, studying me like a stranger. Then he spoke, voice calm, distant. "Do I know you?" I couldn't breathe. His voice, his face, everything was the same, but his soul was gone. "You used to," I said softly. He frowned slightly, as if something deep inside him stirred, some spark fighting to remember. "I dream of you. A girl with light in her skin. A scar that wasn't a scar." Tears blurred my vision. That was me, and this, I took his hand, pressing it to my chest, is what's left of us. The air shimmered around us. The lines beneath the ground pulsed, glowing brighter. The veil between worlds trembled again. For a heartbeat, his eyes lit up, that familiar silver glow returning. He whispered my name. And then, the light swallowed everything. The light faded slowly, like a sunrise refusing to end. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in the same place. Yet, everything had changed. The forest was alive again. The air moved soft and warm. Birds sang like they had just remembered how. And beside me, Arion. He stood there, his silver eyes uncertain, as though he was seeing the world for the first time. The light under his skin flickered, weak but still there. He looked at me, confusion melting into something softer. "I remember," he whispered. "The river, The light. Your voice. My heart almost stopped. You do? He smiled faintly. Not all of it, but enough to know I never wanted to leave you. I laughed, half from relief, half from tears. You didn't. You're still here. He glanced around, his expression thoughtful. This place, it's not your world. It's not mine either. I looked too. The sky shimmered between gold and silver, and the trees seemed to breathe with quiet magic. Two worlds stitched together by something stronger than time, by love. Arion turned toward me. You were never meant to see our realm, Lina, yet you changed it. I didn't, I said softly. We did. He smiled, that same quiet, sad smile he had the first night by the river. Then, gently, he reached into his cloak and pulled out a small crystal vial. Inside, faint green light, the elven balm. I never used it, because it wasn't your scar that needed healing. He touched my face, his hand warm, trembling. It was mine. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but they didn't fall. They shimmered, turning to light before reaching the ground. Then heal it, I whispered. He nodded, the vial dissolved in his palm, the light flowing through his fingers and into me. My skin glowed, the mark on my cheek fading, not vanishing, just turning into a silver trace. A reminder. When it was over, he stepped back, looking at me as though committing every detail to memory. His voice was soft. If the veil closes again, will you remember me? I smiled through my tears. Even if the worlds forget, I won't. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. Then that's enough. The air trembled one last time. Light rose around him, shimmering like dust caught in sunlight. He reached for me. I felt his fingers, warm, alive, and then nothing. Only light. The forest stilled once more. But I didn't cry, because somewhere between the trees, the wind whispered. His voice, carried in the breath of two worlds. Lina. And the veil breathed again.